Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over an email sent from a subscriber. And guys, this is a story where the guy makes the classic mistake of not only marrying the wrong woman once, he marries the wrong woman twice, where it doesn't go right the first marriage. So he thinks that the second time around with somebody equally having issues and red flags, it worked the second time. And to no surprise, it doesn't work out as well. And I'm doing this story, guys, to show you just how important it is to pay attention to the red flags when it comes to women. I mean, pay attention to red flags with anybody and pay attention to people's actions, not their words, but especially when it comes to women and if you're going to get involved with them, let alone get married. I mean, I've made it clear about my opinions on marriage countless times, but many of you guys are going to do it anyway. So you gotta pay attention to the red flags. You can't let the rose-tinted glasses make you look the other way. Otherwise, it's gonna come back to bite you in the ass, okay? And so I'm gonna go through this story, guys, and point these things out along the way, these important lessons. And in the end, you're gonna see the guy, even though he learns the hard way, he does finally get it, and he's now getting his life back in order, which is great. It's a nice success story to end this bad situation with. So I'm gonna jump right into it. He says here, "Hello, SSM. I've been watching your videos for some time now. I wish you were on, or that I found your videos when I was going through my divorce, but that is life. I've been retired from the Navy for over 10 years and was married before. So I've had 2 wives. I know what you're going to say, why didn't I learn from the last time? Sometimes it takes a few extra knocks to realize you need to move on. At least you can admit it, I respect that. But I've learned. The first marriage, I was married while I was in the military. She did cheat on me with 2 different men, but also a woman as well. Of course, this is what she told me at the time. It could have been more, and I don't know if I will ever know the truth, but it doesn't matter now. I found out from another woman who wanted to get even with her because they were having a falling out, and she wanted to hurt my now ex-wife in the only way that she knew how. We did go to counseling and we stayed together for a long time. Unfortunately, I still have my doubts and could never completely trust her. We finally got divorced and moved on. I did find another woman too soon and paid the price again." So the stereotype, guys, about the guy who's in the military and obviously when he's away or whatever happens to be, the cheating wife. Now, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but there have been countless stories that I have heard, I've done videos on this, about the guy that's away and back home the wife is on the base and she's riding the carousel. And when I do those stories, I get thousands and thousands of comments from guys telling me either from their own personal experience or guys that they've known that that's happened to them. So I tell you guys all the time, if you are in the military and you're single right now, do not get married, okay? If you're going to do it, wait till you're out, because it doesn't statistically, it's not going to end well. It's probably going to happen. So just keep that in mind. But he said here that even though it happened, they tried the whole counseling thing, which in my opinion, it's a bunch of crap, because counseling, they tend to side with the woman and try to want to repair the marriage when it's really at the point that it's not repairable, okay? And he said right here that even though they were trying to fix it, according to the counselor, he had his doubts and he never could completely trust her. And guys, it's cliche, but once a cheater, always a cheater, okay? And you're always going to be wondering. So if you guys are married or in relationships and you're cheated on, you're going to spend the whole time always wondering who's she texting with, who's she emailing with, who's she talking on the phone, who's she hanging out with when she's not with me, stuff like that. That'll make it crazy. It's just not worth it. Are there some situations that somebody that cheats, they're sincerely sorry? Yeah, of course, but you never really get... They're coming for me. Every time I do a video, the sirens are going. You just never really know, guys, and just it's always best to move on, okay? Now we're on to story number 2. Wife number 2. He says, on to marriage number 2. The second wife was much younger and more into having sex and enjoying life. Of course, the enjoying of sex was more than I bargained for. At first, the sex was great. She was willing to do things I would only dream of. The problem is, I didn't listen to how her past was, and I should have realized that there were many red flags. In other words, he found himself a better-looking woman, a younger woman, a woman that was freaky in the sack, sex was great, and because of all that, he overlooked all the red flags. This happens so many times, and I'd be a liar if I didn't say that when I was younger and didn't know any better that I didn't do the same thing. So I'm not going to give this guy a hard time or anybody else for that matter, because we all either do it or have done it at some point. You can't let the pussy blind you guys, okay? You really got to pay attention to all that. And if you see red flags, the odds are those red flags, you're seeing them for a reason, and it can come back to bite you in the ass if you don't, because a lot of guys think that, oh, she'll be different. With me, she'll be different. She may have cheated on other boyfriends in the past, but with me, she'll be different. I'll be the guy that fixes her or whatever. Wrong. He says here, but as they say, I was wearing rose-colored glasses and didn't pay any attention. I think I was into the fact that I was with a younger, more vibrant woman than before. I was already out of the military, and she was a mother with a young child in tow. Single mom. What have I told you guys about the single moms? You want to have fun, hook up with them, that's okay, that's one thing, but getting involved with them, it's a lot of baggage. In my opinion, it's not worth it. And you're going to see here, he says, she had other children, but was not living with her. Her other ex-husband did try to indirectly warn me, but I didn't listen. Being too stupid at the time. Yes, I will say that about myself. I was a fool. We dated over 3 years and then decided to get married and stay married for about 4 years. Within the first 2 years, everything was great, but things started happening going into the third year, and I did notice distancing, but got too attached and tried to work things out. It's unfortunate that you can be with somebody that you have all these feelings for and all that and think everything's great, but it's unfortunate that you got to always keep an eye open. You always got to look for the red flags and not get too attached, because if you do, you get screwed. He says, our age difference was over 10 years, but I thought at first she was more mature than I realized. Granted, I was not acting very adult-like. We both had insecurities and thought we could work on those together. I ended up being more insecure than she was. Guys, when you start acting insecure and you're in a relationship or you're dating, the woman you're dating or in a relationship with is going to start to doubt your masculinity, doubt your strength. And so you start showing these insecurities, she's then going to test you. She's going to throw things your way to test to see if you're going to check her on it. If you really are the strong man she hopes you are. And if you fail those tests, there'll be more tests and more bullshit. And there'll be manipulation and games and all that. Okay? It doesn't go well. Women want a guy that's their rock, that's strong, and you do this insecurity crap, boom, you're shooting yourself in the foot. This is why I tell you guys, when you're having a bad day and you're stressed out about something, don't go home to your girlfriend or wife and bawl your eyes out and talk about your feelings and emotions and all that shit. It's going to turn her off. Even though she says she wants a guy that will do that, she doesn't actually want to hear it, okay? Because it will turn them off. Because you're not being the rock. You're not being the strong man. You're being insecure. And the woman, especially if she's feminine, she doesn't want to have to be your rock. She wants you to be her rock. That's just how it is. And I know I get shit all the time about this, but I'm just stating facts. I'm not saying walking around being a ticking time bomb with your fears and things like that, or your worries or things you're stressed about. You talk about those things with your best buddies, the guys that have your back, okay? Let it out with them. They can help you find solutions. But you go to your girlfriend or your wife or your fiance, whatever, and you let these things out, it's going to turn her off. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and try and watch what happens. He says, she was very manipulating and deceiving, but she would be very subtle about it. What I just tell you, you start being insecure, she's going to start testing you and being more manipulative right there. As time kept going on, she got a new job and a new position. She was the type that would not last at jobs. She'd work for a few months and then either get fired or walk out. What does that say about her? This job was different and she was in charge. Started hiring young adults who she fancied. She thought they were great, but I never trusted them. I have had suspicions with them and her, but could never prove it even though I've tried. Yes, she did guard her phone like it was her lifeline. As time went on, she wanted more sex, but with other people, and I was to stay out of that affair. I was not comfortable, but I was a fool and wanted to hold on to her. In other words, she wanted to have an open marriage, and this guy, because he was so weak and so insecure and so attached, he let it happen. Okay? As if she didn't respect him enough already, as if there weren't enough red flags already. Now, because he's not strong enough and just going to let her go do it because he doesn't want to lose her, What does that say? And I'm not trying to give this guy a hard time, just pointing out the mistakes he made. That way then, because I know he gets it, the other guys, if you ever fall into the situation, you don't make the same mistakes as this guy. This guy should have laid down the law. He shouldn't have got involved with her to begin with, let alone marry her. And he should have laid down the law with her from the get-go, but he didn't, and look what happened. He says, finally she wanted a divorce. Gee, didn't see that coming. So as hard as it was for me, I agreed and left. I did not stay in the house that we were living in together. Our child that we did have together was with his grandparents, which I thought was for the best. I became homeless overnight and only took what I could carry that night. Went to stay at a friend's house. I won't deny it, but it hurt bad and it was eating up inside. But I was also going to counseling for myself to work on my own personal issues. It was for the best at the time. I started going to different places and meetings, and my job performance did hurt. But the company that I worked for understood and helped me through the troubles and worked with me so I'd be able to stay and not lose my job. Well, that's a great company you're working for, and definitely show your appreciation with that company for them going out on a limb and helping you out. A lot of places would not do that. It says they're a great company. I also started volunteering at an animal shelter, and my cats were also my inspiration and helped me heal. I really love animals, and when I finally got an apartment, I got my cats up to my place, and they really helped me out. Animals are therapeutic. I'm a cat person. I got 2 of them, so believe me, I understand this. And that's cool that he was working at the animal shelter, and by him doing that, getting out of the house instead of being at home and moping and being depressed, good for him. And working with the animals, it's very therapeutic. Trust me, I know. He says, it was great sitting on the couch and having them hang out with me while I watched TV. Plus, as long as they had their food, water, and litter box, they were happy. As stated, I did get an apartment and began to realize that my life was changing. I was continuing to work on myself. I started by first getting my bills together and getting my rent and utilities straightened out. Then, since I was paying less, I started getting all my past due bills together and started paying them off. A few things. And so what you're seeing here, guys, is that this guy, instead of just going into a dark place and not doing anything, the guy's taking action. He was going to therapy. His company was working with him. He went to the animal shelter to get a little therapy with the animals. He's getting his life together. He's paying off his bills. He mentioned here that obviously, since he's not with her anymore, he's able to obviously save more money and get his bills and things paid off, which probably he racked up because of her. I'm willing to bet you there. When men are on their own, we can very quickly turn our lives around. That's the cool thing, okay? Because men don't need a whole lot to be happy, but we do need some peace and quiet and some peace in our mind. And you're not going to get that a lot of times with many types of women. I'm not saying all women, but a lot of them there. And in terms of money, women spend money like there's no tomorrow, okay? Guys, on the other hand, are more inclined to save and be smart with their money. So this guy's getting his shit together relatively quickly, and that's awesome. He says a few things. I was not interested in getting into a relationship at that time. I was still too hurt to consider that and realized I need to heal and fix my life first. Good for you. Don't make this mistake you did last time, rushing into a relationship. A lot of guys do that. Fix yourself. Get your life together. You know? And oftentimes women are the ones who really do that, but also a lot of guys do that. It's not a smart thing to do. He says, the apartment I had did have 2 rooms for both myself and my child. I could have them any time I wanted, which was the one thing I at least appreciated from my soon-to-be ex-wife at the time. She never denied my time with my son. I will give her credit there. Yes, we did get divorced about a year later, and we had 50-50 custody and no child support. I still provided the insurance and took care of any clothing, food, or whatever else he needed. He was my life, and I would do anything for my son. I have a close bond with my son. My ex-wife could also have him, and we never denied each other time with him, even to this day. This is awesome. This guy's obviously a really good dad. Good for him. It's awesome. Our son does spend a lot of time with his grandparents as well, so he has well time with family. This is both with her parents and with my parents. We have love for him and want him to have the best in life as he can. For my son, I have a bank account for his savings, along with starting a child's investment portfolio that he'll be able to have when he's 21. I want him to have the best chance in life he can. I know I'm rambling a bit, a lot to say and never enough time. Not sure what to say at times. Sometimes my brain goes faster than my fingers. Yeah, he's rambling a little bit, but I'll give him a pass. He's got a lot going on here. He says, well, back to the ex-wife. She wanted to have sex with different people at different times and doesn't feel ashamed and really has no feelings on how it hurt me. Like I told you, the open marriage. Basically, I learned to deal with her infidelity and live with it at the time. So she has no remorse. So I don't know if she ever loved me or was it she used love to get what she wanted. I did love her deeply, but it wasn't meant to be. You think? Guys, you have a girlfriend, you have a fiance, you got a wife, and she wants to suddenly do the open marriage thing because you're not giving her enough attention, or her female coworkers are egging her on, or her female friends are probably single, want to screw up the situation. You do not go along with it. I don't care how in love you think you are with her, or is a recipe for disaster, okay? Because if she is remotely good looking, it will not be hard for her to have a whole line of dudes willing to hook up with her anytime, any place. Don't do it. And if that means she's going to end the marriage, fine. Gone. In fact, if she brings it up, you ought to end the marriage. Because what does that say? Now that I can see clearly, I realize I am much better off without her. I have the freedom to make the decisions I want and do as I please, other than taking care of my son and cats. A lot of my bills have been since paid off. I have also been working on losing weight as well. I feel better about myself and where I am going. It has been a few years, and I managed to pay most of my bills off and actually got a house. Bought the car I wanted, and I've been able to save money as well. This is awesome. Again, back to the point where a guy on his own can be frugal and smart with his money, and look what he's doing. He's paying off, obviously, all his old debts, got himself a house, the car he wants. This is what happens when you are a bachelor, when you're on your own. You do what you want, when you want. Guys, I can't stress this enough. You get to your 30s, and especially your 40s, and you got your shit together, you've gained all this knowledge, and you got a good job, or you got your own business, and you got money in the bank, money investments, you can have a great life. You don't need a woman to fill in the gap or complete you. A guy can do pretty much anything. A guy can, nowadays, we cook, we clean, we take care of all this shit on our own. No nagging, no pain in the ass crap to deal with. It's great. You don't believe me? I ask all the guys that have my opinion and are living the life of freedom to comment in the comment section. And believe me, they'll tell you all about how great their life is now that they're bachelors and have good things going. But it doesn't just happen. You got to be on your purpose. You got to have goals and ambitions and constantly bettering yourself. He goes on. I do talk to her dad, and he and I are good friends. He doesn't understand why she has done what she has done and is not happy about it. But we remain good friends over this. He has helped me many times, and I still help him when needed. He has explained that she is still making foolish mistakes, but those are on her. She still, from what has explained to me, cannot remain faithful to anyone she's going with. No surprise there. Once a cheater, always a cheater. So she was doing all this bullshit with him, and now she's obviously doing the same thing with other guys. And her dad can't understand it, you know? And that's cool. This guy's obviously a good thing going with the dad because that's the grandfather of his child. You know, and in these stories, guys, it's almost always the ex-father-in-law or whatever happens to be the girlfriend's dad that's always sympathetic to the guy and works with him. But it's usually the mother-in-law, the ex-mother-in-law, that's usually kind of bitchy because probably she was the same way when she was younger. Who the hell knows? But that's cool. This guy has a good thing going, a relationship with grandpa. He says, also, she has a lot of financial issues and still cannot keep a job. I listen to my former father-in-law, but really am not interested in her issues. Her issues are not your problem. Be happy. Let her be somebody else's problem. You got your new life to enjoy and be happy with and have a great thing going with your son. She made her bed, so now she has to deal with her issues in life she's made for herself. I'm moving on and looking to the stars. I'm working on trying to advance in the company that I am working for. With all the young men who are going in the military, and you having a girl, take it from me, wait to get out of the military. Now he's back to the military part. If you go in and marry and she leaves, you are still responsible for her and still have to cover her housing and medical. So if you do get married, hold on to any money from housing because the military will make you give it to her. Also, trust me on this, if you have a girl and are not married and live on base, and let her take care of her own expenses. I cannot stress that enough, and I cannot tell young men what to do, but hope they hear this and take it in guidance and look at others before you make that journey. Again, thanks again for all you do, and I wish your advice was out there when I was going through this during my troubles. But in the end, you're out there and keep doing what you're doing. I know some people may not like what you're doing, but I believe you are straightforward and honest, and that I can respect. Signed, Still Learning. Well, thank you very much for sending that email. And I know you went through a lot of shit and obviously had to learn the hard way, not once but twice, but you learned. And now you're on your own, you're a bachelor, you're getting your life together. That's great. Keep doing what you're doing. But for all that is sacred and holy, do not get married again. Enjoy your life. If you want to do relationships down the road when you're truly healed, okay, that's your business. Just be careful. Pay attention to all the red flags. Get rid of those rose-tinted glasses because they screwed you up the first time. And just focus on your life and be happy. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy with your son. That's awesome. I'm glad you got a good thing going there. But again, this guy was kind of all over the place for certain things, guys. But the point of the story is he warned about getting married in the military. Don't do that. He warned about, the woman with the red flags. No matter how hot she is, no matter how good the pussy is, don't fall for those tricks. Pay attention. And with the open marriage thing, never go along with it. Ever. So, but this guy got his life back on track. That's awesome. So any of you guys out there watching this right now that are in a bad situation with your girlfriend, your wife, and think that just this is how it is, this is your lot in life, it can't get any better, yes it can. You can make a difference, you can make your life better, okay? But you got to take action, and you can't tolerate any shit from her, okay? You have the opportunity, okay? I've done countless stories, both articles, stories from guys like you that are subscribed to the channel and write me about it and tell me about your situations. And just like this guy, you can make your life better. So go for it and do it. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.